need more on that jib, Andrew?
Yeah, a little bit more jib would be good. And nice gust on.
Oh, this is fun. All right, Andrew, the XS 14. We are in 18 knots of apparent wind speed.
Yeah, how fast are we going, Mika?
How good's this? This feels great, mate. This is what sporty catamaran sailing should be all about.
Yeah.
So I can actually just sit back here.
8.3. 8.3 knots. Fantastic.
Yeah. So what's this cat all about? Then let's start going into the numbers.
I'm going to come to the leeward side because we're yelling at each other.
Yeah, okay, come on down here and have a chat. This is what 8 metre beam makes it all.
Exactly. Okay. So we're on the XS14. It's got the pulse pack, and that's a taller mast. It also comes with these high-tech Elstrom sails, which are tri-radial with a square top main.
Yep.
Interestingly enough, the material for the sails is recycled. I don't know much about it, but it's nice to see they're making a move in the right direction for the planet.
Yeah, nice. We've got some guys racing here.
No, we're clear ahead.
We're going to clear.
I'm just going to show everyone this. So when you're sailing, if you look at the other boats and the background is the horizon is going behind, that means you're ahead of them. So we can see the middle boat.
Yep.
You can see the background going backwards.
Yep.
That means we're clear ahead.
Yep. Nath, no lower. You got some yachts underneath the drone.
So yeah, the boat feels great. I mean, it's been raining. There's been no wind. We launched the drone and the breeze filled straight in.
Yeah.
Very lucky.
I know, totally. Do you want to come onto the wind, Andrew? Or?
Yeah, let's sheet on and see what she feels like.
Okay, so I got an electric winch. I'm ready when you are. I'll start.
Yeah, trimming up. I'm going to go to the windward side so I can see the sails.
Yep, and just call the trim to me.
Yep.
Now, we also have an electric traveller on this one, which Mick is in control of. And I can obviously divert this main sheet to the electric, but I've only got one electric. Do you need more on that jib, Andrew?
Yeah, a little bit more jib would be good. And nice gust on.
Oh, this is fun. Okay, those telltales are flying. Are you happy with that?
Yeah, she feels good.
We're not journalists.
I'm Andrew Parks. I'm a professional sailor and sailmaker. I've sailed everything from the America's Cup through to dinghies, and I was also a yacht broker and new salesman for 25 years.
My name's Dan Jones. I also spent 20 years selling power and sailboats, and I've tested over 1,000 different boats over the last 30 years. We are not selling any of these boats. We don't have any affiliation with any of the brands or dealers, and we're not doing paid advertorials. These videos are just us sharing our experiences, so hopefully you can learn and help your boat life.
What speed have we got now, Mika?
8.6. 8.6. And we've got 15 knots of apparent wind speed. So I suppose when we go through the tack, I can just let this jib backwind, then I'll dump this sheet and then put the new sheet straight onto the winch.
Yep.
So I can keep control of the main sheet.
Yeah.
I could obviously close it off on the jammer if I wanted to, but that's what I'll do.
Okay.
What do you reckon? Should we go through a tack?
Yeah, let's do a tack.
Let's do it.
Okay, stand by.
Standing
Tacking
by.
in 3, 2, 1, and tacking.
Okay, I'm going to let that jib backwind first, and there she goes. I'll dump it, get the new one on. Okay, get a couple of turns on, and try and wind on. And then just call that trim to me.
Yep, just let the boat speed build a bit.
Yep. So it's a little bit different on a cat because they really kind of stall when you go through the tack, don't you?
Yeah. So just slowly trimming on now, Dan.
Slowly trimming on. So I've got a high and a low speed on this winch. So now I'm on the low speed. I can see the mid telltales without getting up on my feet. But if I want to see...
A little more trim on.
A bit more trim on.
Bit more.
Bit more.
Okay, I'm going to come over to the windward wheel now.
Okay. So you really can sort of tickle this for performance, or you could just set and forget and have fun.
Yeah, but you know, the boat feels really responsive.
Yep.
It's a bit weird not heeling over, but you know, each to their own.
But for non-boaters, this is great.
But she feels lively. You know,
Yep.
you know, you've got really good visibility here. I can see the jib. I can see the wind.
Yep.
I can look all the way around. No,
Yep.
there's a ferry through there. I can see that.
Yep.
Fast ferry on the bow.
Yep.
So yeah, really, really good visibility.
Fantastic. And I suppose if I liken this to performance multis that I have been on, like a trimaran, which are all about performance, when they accelerate, you almost lose your footing. But this is much more stable. Whilst we're having fun, we can see the sails, I can talk to people, I can communicate with Mika in the cockpit, but it's not so crazy fast that like you fall off your feet.
No, exactly. And you know, I think we made mention of it in the walkthrough video that
Yep.
you know, this is not a racing boat. It's
So-
a cruising cat with good performance.
Nathan, we've got sailing yacht crossing our bow to starboard.
Yeah, you're all clear. All clear on the drone.
Yeah, well, what do you reckon? We've got a little bit of traffic on the harbour. Should we bear away or I think we should probably bear away before we get into that mess, or what do you reckon, Andrew?
Well, look, it's a shame to bear away because the boat's sailing beautifully upwind,
Yeah,
and which is something cruising cats are not renowned for.
sure.
But yeah, look, let's go on a reach and see what she feels like.
Okay.
So just bearing away now.
And I've got control of main and jib there. So what's this arrangement underneath these holes? Because they often put like little mini keels on these things. We don't have dagger boards.
Yeah.
It's got a bit of a mini keel underneath.
Yeah, well, yeah, like a mini
Mini
keel.
keel.
Yeah, mini. Yeah, so it's become quite common on cruising cats to put small boards on,
Yeah,
but they're not terribly effective.
right.
I think they've pushed the depth a little bit more on the XS.
Sure.
It's about 1.5 meters, so probably another 25 to 30% deeper than the norm.
Okay.
And you're still going to be able to get this cat in close to the beach.
Yep.
But you just pick up a little bit more performance, and they're quite a thin core depth.
Yep.
So they're not as draggy as some of the other ones. So
Yeah.
but it just helps the windward performance. And the boat felt really lively when we were going upwind there.
That was fun. What's our boat speed now, Mika? We've got 9.7 knots of apparent.
Yeah, we're
6 knots through the water.
sailing quite a broad angle. I'd say we're probably at 135 to 140
Okay.
apparent.
Yep.
So that's quite a deep angle for a cat without having some sort of a downwind sail on.
Yep.
But the visibility from the helm is fantastic.
It's sufficient, but I guess if you're coming from a mono hull and you're not used to having this roof, it's a bit of a difference too.
Yeah, but it's I'm not finding it much of a hindrance.
Yeah, yeah.
There is there's a small blind spot here,
Sure.
but you actually need you need some structure in the deck, the coach roof
To support that
to
roof.
support the roof. So
Yeah.
all boats are a small compromise. That's a tiny one because I've got great visibility from here when I step to windward.
Yep.
And then if I step that way or I just turn my head,
Yep.
I've got good visibility. So
And the foot of the jib is cut high enough that we can see straight through these
yeah,
windows.
exactly.
Like, I can
So
see there. That's not a safety issue.
it's not at all.
Yeah.
And because we're doing everything without heel,
Yeah.
we've got fantastic line of sight for everything.
What I love about this design is I'm not sailing with my back to everyone in this little seat up there.
Yep.
Like, it's way more social. I've done that on lagoons in Greece before, and you're doing 5 hours to the next island, and you're kind of just sitting up there and everyone else is down here ignoring you.
Yeah.
And this is way more fun.
Yeah, and it's a bit more traditional.
Yeah.
So the owner of this boat, comes from he's got a monohull background.
Yep.
So this is more traditional for a sailor.
Sure.
Yep.
Yep.
You're with your friends, you're with your family.
Yep.
It works really nicely.
Yep. So she's got a healthy turn of speed. not too much speed that it's going to knock you off your feet. And she's got sort of, she's enough of a mothership, as we've discovered today walking around the thing, that she'll do everything you want, but still give you a bit of fun feedback.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When you want to go sailing, you can. And one of the key points to a boat having good performance is you can start sailing earlier.
Sure.
You're not bound to the motors.
Yep.
So the boat, even when we did our little test run before this main shoot.
Yep.
We were only sailing in sort of 6 knots of breeze. But we were sailing.
Yep.
Whereas a lot of boats, you're just motoring because you can't sail till it's 10 or 12 knots.
Yeah.
So that's another added advantage of having a boat with good performance.
Yep. Understood. How's that drone battery, Nath? 46? Well, we might start thinking about retrieving the drone, and then we can lower these sails, furl the jib, lower the main, and do a test under motor.
Yeah.
And see what sort of speeds we get out of these 3-blade folding props.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good. Hey, you know what you can do, Dan? Let's just try it, because it's all about learning.
Yep.
Clutch off the red one for a sec.
Yep.
Yep, okay. Now
And
transfer it to the other winch.
And
then put the green one on that winch.
And then just
and then you can actually let one go and pull one off.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
Let's video that from my camera. No, that clutch isn't open yet.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. See, spot the boat broker. Didn't break the winch handle, didn't break the clutch handle off.
Ferry crossing the bow to port.
Okay. So this is how you attack, because we've got this quite nice jib system here. So we load the old sheet on the non-powered winch and the new sheet on the powered winch. Okay, stand by, guys. Tacking in 3, 2, 1, and turning. Now I sound like an America's Cup sailor. They don't tack, they turn. Oh, nice.
Hey, that's much better.
Way more efficient.
Yeah, isn't it?
And now Mick is
on
pulling
the
the Traveller up.
electric Traveller.
Perfect.
Is there one speed or?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fine. We'll just go one speed.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Because you got everything's on clutches, so
You clear all around for the drone, but you've got a fleet of yachts. Those small ones about 300 metres starboard bow.
I think the other thing too, Dan, is if you were sailing this boat, maybe up in Hamo or something,
Yeah.
you'd actually just, once the main sheet's set, leave it on the clutch,
Yep.
and just have your 2 jib sheets set up
And just
and
play.
crisscross them,
Yeah.
That'd work really well.
You cut me out of the crew wanting to do something.
Yeah. Because the guy,
This guy's here with the beer in his
he's
hand.
got a beer in his hand. Yep, I got it.
I'm on
What do you do?
Traveller,
I did
mate.
a Traveller.
Yeah, I've been doing the Traveller all day. Why are you so drunk?
Hi, I'm Andrew Parks and I'm on Connect. If you'd like some help on speccing a boat like this up to suit your needs, or comparing it with other boats you might be considering, or you'd like some help in campaigning a boat to race, contact me on Connect. Okay, that's close time. Okay.
All right, motor test. I've forgotten what motors we have on this one.
Yamaha 45 horsepower.
Yamaha 45 horsepower.
Yeah, with
3-blade folding prop
on a sail drive.
on a sail drive. Okay, and
Okay.
so we are at 2,000 revs.
2,000 revs, we're ticking along at 7.1 knots. Quite an acceptable speed.
Yep.
Reasonably quiet.
More noise though than some of the boats have been on.
Yeah, but I think a lot of it is just from the water flow over the transom.
There's much more disturbance out the back of this boat compared to some of the mono hulls we've been on.
Yeah.
I guess there's 2 hulls, obviously.
Exactly, double the drag. Okay, so let's go up to 2,500 RPM.
Yep. And we're doing this across the wind. We don't have any tide, so it should be reasonably accurate. I can see 8 knots and climbing, 8.5.
Okay, that's 2,500 RPM.
We seem to be hovering around that 8, now 8.7, 8.8 knots.
Yep. Yeah, I'd call that, averaging, I'd call that 8.7.
Yeah, agreed.
You're getting a good clip along.
Yep.
Actually, let's update that. The speed's changing. I'd
still
make
climbing.
it 8.8.
Yeah.
All right, let's go full noise. See what this puppy can do.
Yep, all clear. Oh yeah. Digs her butt a little bit.
Yep. Okay, that's 3,200 RPM.
Yep. A lot more disturbance off the transoms now.
Yeah, but
Noise and vibration increase.
Obviously the transoms are digging. You can see the bows riding a little higher.
Yeah, you can see that.
9.7 knots. So
Yeah.
if you really had to get home into a southerly or something,
Sure. You've got some oomph, or if you're fighting tide,
yeah,
fighting a couple of knots of tide, you can still do a reasonable speed.
exactly. So it's nice to know you've got that option available should you need it.
Yep. Let's go back to something sensible.
But I think 2,000 to 2,500 RPMs feels pretty nice. So is there any point doing an internal sound check? Probably not.
Look, might as well. We do it every time.
Yeah.
Come with me down to the just at cruising revs down to the
Yeah, I'm going to
owner's
get
hole,
to 2,000.
and let's see. It's actually less intrusive down here. Isn't that interesting? Okay, so the sound insulation between this bulkhead and the engine room must be pretty decent, because I feel like the engine noises are more intrusive up there. And let's just go forward. Big boat. Depending on the sea state, you can definitely have a kip up here when you're under motor. This is quite comfortable. Super low noises. Okay, useful. That was a fun sail.
It was. I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, for a big, spacious, floating apartment. This is the mothership.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
my word.
Yeah.
Like, I really think it is. So you've had some time to absorb this boat now. What are your thoughts, and who is best suited to it?
Look, yeah, as I said, I was surprised with how well the boat sailed. And we, when we were doing some more shooting, we got a bit more breeze, and the boat felt really alive, nicely balanced on the helm. The bigger sails, performance sails, really make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And I think anyone who's looking at buying one of these boats, they should be considering an upgrade on their sails, because it's a sailing boat.
Yeah.
But yeah, so went well, felt good going upwind.
Yep.
Which was nice, and going reaching the boat just pushes along.
Yeah, totally.
So I think this is going to appeal to someone who's a sailor.
Yep.
Because it sails better than most cruising cats.
Yep.
And I've chartered a lot of cruising cats in the Adriatic and the Med.
Yep.
And they are a lovely platform, but their sailing performance has always been a bit of a letdown.
Yep.
Whereas I think this boat felt like a nice sailing boat.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to appeal to a sailor, and maybe someone coming from a monohull who just wants the volume and space.
Yep.
I think it's going to appeal to someone who's come from maybe one of the well-known cruising catamarans.
Sure.
Who is just after a bit more performance.
Yep.
They love the lifestyle.
Yep.
They just want the boat to get the cat to go a little faster or be a bit more responsive.
Yep.
And as we touched on, earlier, I think it's going to appeal to people maybe from a powerboat background who want to try sailing. They're used to the manoeuvrability of twin screws.
Yep.
And so they have that with this. So the whole parking dilemma is not such an issue, because they've got the same controls that they're used to.
Big predictable thing.
Yeah, and it also it gives them the volume that they're used to.
Yeah.
And we've seen on a couple of the cruising yachts that we've looked at that they are getting close to powerboat dimensions.
Definitely.
But this is another step up.
This is another level.
Because we get so much beam, we're really getting a lot more usable space. So I think there's a broad market for a boat like this.
Yep. And what is it not? Because some people are going to see performance this, performance that.
It's not a racing boat. It's
Yeah.
It's not one of the well-known performance marks.
Yeah.
Like Ultra, or
Marston Composites.
yes, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so don't
So-
make the mistake of putting this in the same box.
Yeah, and if we've confused, we clouded the issue.
Yeah.
It was never our intention.
Yeah.
This is a cruising boat
Yeah.
that will sail nicely.
Correct.
You're not going to buy this. It's no gunboat.
No.
So
Exactly.
But it's a beautiful boat.
Yeah.
Nicely built, nicely finished. I like the fact that they've gone the extra yard to get as much performance out of it as they can by saving weight.
I agree.
And
Moving
nice
the mast
design.
forward, making this cabin top lower weight.
Yeah,
It's great.
nice, cord construction.
Yep.
They're doing a lot of very nice things.
Yeah, I 100%, and from my perspective, I just love the layout. You're not stuck in this little dicky seat up here with your back to everyone. It's a social boat if you want to use it as your mothership, entertain, day sail, weekend, adventure, across oceans. It'll kind of do all of that.
Yeah,
I love it.
For sure.
It's great. At a reasonable price,
Yeah.
considering the volume that you get.
Yeah, considering the volume you get compared to, a yacht with this much volume.
Yep.
You're talking about a 90-footer.
And a power boat, 70 plus feet.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
exactly.
It's more akin to a power boat step up than a yacht, because yachts just don't have this volume.
Correct. Well, that's enough. Once again, thank you. The weather's probably going to set in, so we got a speedboat ride back, possibly in the rain. We'll see how it goes. Guys, if you like the performance and you like what you see on deck here and how this thing sails, we're just about to do a very deep dive through the whole interior. We try to open a lot of the hatches and get under the floorboards as much as we have time for in the next video. That's coming up on your screen very soon. If you are trying to buy one of these boats, or if you want to compare an XS with a Lagoon or something else, or you're looking at a sail program, a set of sails for your next boat, and you want to speak to an expert, Andrew is that expert. He's the guy who's done the America's Cups. He's also a professional sail maker. So he's on Manect. The link is down below in the description, and you can contact him there for some independent advice, because we're not selling any of these boats. We're not represented, and we're not affiliated with these brands, and we're not journalists. We're just
we're not.
boaters. I hope that was useful. See you in the next one, guys. Thanks.
See you next time, guys.